Hello and welcome to the 8th lesson of this Excel course. I am Sumit Bansal and in this video we will learn about number formatting in detail. Let us start by understanding various ways to access number formatting options in Excel. There are multiple ways with which you can access number formatting in Excel. The easiest way is to go to the Home tab, and here you have this group number, and within this group you have this drop down through which you can access a couple of number formatting options. You have general, number, currency format, date and time format, you have the percentage and fractions format. If you need more options, then you can click on more number formats option and it would open the format cells dialog box. So this is the second way to access formatting options, and this is the most powerful way to have the entire control over number formatting. So you can see that in the number tab I have all these options along with an option called custom. So here you can select from these predefined options, or you can also create your own custom number formatting. Another way you can access number formatting is if you have, say, a number here 1000, and if I right click on it, you get access to this mini toolbar, and on this mini toolbar you have the currency format, you have percentage and comma. Again, if you need to open the control format, the format cells dialog box, then you can choose this more accounting formats option. You can also open the format cells dialog box by using the keyboard shortcut Control 1, and as soon as you press this, you can see this opens the format cells dialog box. So these are the ways you can use to access number formatting options in Excel. Here I have some sample data set that I'll use to show you how custom formatting works. Let me press Control 1 to open. Let me select the cell and press Control 1 to open the format cells dialog box. Now here you would see that there are already some predefined formatting options, and when you click on this option, it would give you a lot of options available here for that particular formatting. So in case of general, it is the general format which has no specific number formatting attached to it. So if you type a text, it gets aligned to the left. If you type a number, it gets aligned to the right, but no specific formatting is applied. You see it as you type it. If you go to the number format, you would see that there is a decimal places option. So now this is the sample part where you actually see the live preview. You would not see it in the cell unless you click OK, but you can see what happens to the format if you look here. Now you can see that here it says 1.00. So this is the number 1, and when you click OK, this is what you would see, 1.00. The reason being that there are two decimal places. If I increase this, you can see that it changes here, and if I decrease it, then it changes here. You can also use 1000 separator. So for example, let me select this number and press Control 1, and now if I go to number format, I can check this option, and as soon as I do this, you can see it has inserted 1000 separator. So it is a good format if you are working with millions and billions of values and you need to identify, you just need to show these values with 1000 separator. You can also specify whether you want to use negative values in some other color, which is red. So if you select this option, it would show a negative value in red color without a minus sign, and if you choose this option, then it would show it in the red color with the minus sign. So let me show you how it would work. I would make this -12, and now when I go to, again I press Control 1, and now when I go to number format and choose this option and click OK, you can see that now this has become red with two decimal places. Again, if I go back and select minus option, then you would see that there is a minus sign here as well. Let me Control Z, Control Z. Coming back to the third option, which is currency, it is a simple thing where you first have a symbol of the currency and then you specify the number of decimal places. Again, this might be already pre-selected based on your regional settings, but you have all these options to select. And again, you have the similar options for negative values as well. Coming to accounting, it is similar to currency, except the fact that there is no negative number. It would always have the minus sign, and it cannot be displayed in a different color. Coming to date format, you can see that as of now the sample says such a long number because dates and times cannot be negative. It can only be either 0 or positive. So let me select some other cell. I would select this cell where I already have today's date, and I hit Control 1. And now if I select date, you see that it is displayed as of now in this format, but I have these range of formats from which I can select. So as of now, this is dd/mm/YYYY format. So as of now here it is 13th September 2014, but I can change this to this format where it would spell out the month completely in alphabet. So it would say 13th September 2014. I can select any of these options. So for example, if I select this, it says 2014, but if I select this, it only says 14. So these are different options that you can use. You can also select 14 March 2012 without any hash or hyphen. If you go to times, now let me select this cell and press Control 1, and now if I go to time, you can see that it displays 21:16:35. So this is 21 hours 16 minutes and 35 seconds, which is the time here as of now, because I used a function to put this. You can select how your time should be displayed. So for example, if I click OK here, you would see this. It does not mean that the value has changed. The backend value remains that number which holds the date as well as time, but you only see the time here. Let me press Control 1 and show you some other options. So you can also select whether you want to display it in the AM PM format. If I select this, it would show you 09:16:35 PM. So this is the format where you would see whether it's day or evening time or noon time. It would have the AM PM selected here. If I go and I select this, then you can see that the trailing 0 is gone and it shows 9, but in case it becomes 10, that it would show 10. Let me click OK. Again, let me go to this 1 and press Control 1. You have the percentage option here where it would convert that number into a percentage, and you can specify the decimal places. You can also have this option of fraction in case you have a fraction in any of the cells. So for example, in this case, let me make it 0.25, and as soon as I make this change, it converts it into 1/4 because that is the closest fraction it can get. You can also specify what kind of fraction you want. You want it up to 1 digit or up to 2 digit, 3 digits, and all these options. You can also specify the scientific format. So in this case, as soon as I selected, you can see this is the scientific format for 1/4, and you can specify that with the decimal places. You can specify the format for text. In case of text, there is no special formatting applied. It only converts your value to text, which would mean that anything in that format would get aligned to the left and would be used as a text. So in this case, since it is a number, I would press OK, and you can see that again this gets aligned to the left despite being a number. If I type the same number here in some other cell with general formatting, you can see the number gets aligned to the right. So this is a minor thing, but do not worry. Even if you format this as text, you can still use it in calculations and formulas. The second last option here is special. If I go and I select English US, then these 4 options become available, and these 4 options are zip code +4, phone number, and social security number. So now let me show you how this works. I would type a 10-digit number here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1. Now if I press Control 1 and go to special, I have this option of zip code. As soon as I select zip code +4, you can see that a hyphen is inserted before the last 4 digits. Similarly, if I select phone number, the first 3 digit gets in round brackets, and then there is a hyphen after the next 3 digits. Similarly, if I select social security number, you have this format. So in case you are preparing a worksheet where you have to enter a lot of phone numbers or social security numbers or zip code, then you can use this kind of formatting. So these are all pre-populated formatting. They're already defined. You have these nice options available and you can choose from it. But still you want some other kind of formatting to be applied, then you have this option of custom number formatting. Excel already has a lot of predefined number formats, and that would suffice in most of the cases. But if you are stuck with a situation where you need to create your own custom number format, it is a good idea to understand what are the building blocks that can create a custom number format. So in this part of the video, I would talk about these building blocks so that you can construct your own custom number format. If I go to any cell and press Control 1, you can see that when you go to custom, you have this field which says type. Here you can type the custom number format, and I would show you how to construct a custom number format. And you also have a list of pre-populated formats here. So you can see there is this entire list of these formats, and you can use any of it. So let me start by first typing this number 123.123. So this is the number that I'm using. Let me use some other cell, 123.123. This is the number that I'm using. Now if I press Control 1 and go to custom number format, as of now the format is general, so whatever I type in this cell gets reflected. But what if I type 0.0? You can see that it changes this to 123.1. What 0 does is that there are 2 parts to it. First is the part which is left to the decimal places, and if there is more than 1 0, then it would indicate that this digit should at least have the number of zeros which is there to the left of the decimal place. So in this case it is one decimal place. This number should have at least one digit before decimal place. Since it already has 3, we are good here. But on the right it could have a maximum of the number of digits that is specified by the 0. So for example, here I have 0.0, indicating that I can only have one decimal place number. So in this case it is 123.1. If I add one more 0 here, it becomes 123.12. If I add 30, it becomes 123.123. And if I add 40, it mandates that there should be 4 decimal places number. Since there is only 3 in this number, Excel adds another 0, and so the number of zeros you add, the number of decimal places would be added. Similarly, if I go to the left of it and if I type 0 and a 0, you can see that now there are 3 zeros before the decimal and there are 3 numbers in the number that we have chosen. But if I add another 0 here, Excel adds a 0 to the left, because now this number should have at least 4 digits. If there are less than 4 digits, then Excel would introduce a trailing 0 here. So this is how 0 works in Excel. Now let's see how hash works. Hash is very similar to how 0 works, except a very simple change. So now I have hash.hash, and you can see that similar to 0, again hash has introduced one decimal place, and to the left there are 3. If I type one more hash after the decimal, it introduces the second decimal place. If I type the third, it introduces the third. But see, the change appears when I type the fourth one. Nothing happens. So in case of hash, if there are only 3 decimal place numbers, then hash would not force this to enter a 0 to have there 4 decimal places or 5 decimal places. So even if I add a lot of hashes here, nothing happens because there are only 3 decimal places. Similarly, if I go to the left and I press hash, now thrice, it is alright because there are 3 numbers. But if I press hash 4 times, nothing happens, because since there are only 3 numbers, hash would allow the flexibility so that if there are only 3 numbers, those 3 numbers before the decimal is added, and it is alright if there is not the fourth one. This hash would not force Excel to introduce a 0. Now let's move to question mark and see what happens. So now when I just press one single question mark, the decimal part is gone. Let me type question mark dot question mark. Now let me introduce a couple of more question marks and see what happens. Nothing. It would not introduce a 0 as 0 formatting does, but see what happens when I press this. This number moves with the question mark. So what question mark does is, when the numbers are done, it would ensure that these many characters are there in the cell. So for example, if I look at this number and if I click OK, you can see that there is a space for those many characters as specified by the question mark. Now if I type another number here, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and I hit enter and I apply the same formatting, so I copy, I come here and I use apply format, I would hit Ctrl Alt V and I would apply the format and I click OK. You can see that these numbers align. The ones place align, the tens place align, the hundreds place align. If I change this number to 1234561.123456, you can see even the decimal places align. So this is a good technique to align these numbers. Let me again go back to custom number formatting. Now I want to introduce you to this concept of having 4 different custom number formats. Any custom number format would have 4 parts to it. The first part is for positive numbers, the second part is for negative numbers, the third is for zeros, and the fourth is for text. And you would see that if you scroll down, you would see that in some cases there is a semicolon that separates 2 formats. So for example, let us take a very simple example. I would type 0.0 colon minus 0.0. So what I've done is I've specified the number for positive and I've specified the number for negative. Let me also specify the number for 0. It would be simply a 0.0, and for text I would leave it as it is, or maybe I can just type general. And now when I click OK and I'm applying this to this cell B4, see what happens. As soon as I apply OK, since this is a positive number, the format for positive number was 0.0. So let me write these format so that it is easier for you to understand. I'm so bad at typing. Positive, negative, 0 and text. For positive I have taken 0 0.0, for negative I have taken minus 0 0.0, for 0 I have taken 0. Oops, since this is in number format I would precede this with a apostrophe. So this is 0 0.0, this is apostrophe minus 0 0.0, this is simply 0, and this is general. Now let me get rid of these errors. Now if you look at this, this is a positive number, which means that this formatting is applied 0 0.0, and you can see it has one decimal place number. Even if I just type 123 here, it would still have that 0 after the decimal place. Now if I change this to minus 123.123, see what happens. It changes to minus 123.1, which is this format. If I again changes this to minus 12, it again becomes minus 12.0. So this formatting is applied. Now if I am talking only about a 0, nothing happens, only a simple 0 is applied here. And if I talk, sorry, this was 0 0.0, so this was apostrophe 0 0.0. And if I write something here, maybe I write my name, then simple general formatting is applied. So you can see that there are 4 parts to it, and based on the value of your cell, these formatting would get applied. Now what if I want to say that in case of negative, I want to maybe color it in a different way. So I want to highlight it in a red color. You can do this by applying a condition right before the formatting. So you can see that now there is 0 0.0, minus 0 0.0, 0 0.0 for 0, and for text formatting it is by default general. Now I would say that in this case, apply for positive number, apply the color green, and for negative number apply the color red, and just for the fun of it, for 0 apply the color blue. Now these colors are understood by Excel as standard colors, and if you type them within square brackets, then this color is applied to this formatting. Now see what happens. As soon as I click OK, nothing happens because I have not applied any color to text, but as soon as I type 0, this comes in blue color. If I type minus 123, then this comes in red color with this formatting. If I type 123.123 positive number, it comes in green color with this formatting. So you can specify a color and a condition as well. So for example, let me again show you something. Let me again add a condition to it, and I would delete these, and I would add a simple condition which would say that if this number again in square brackets is greater than 100, then highlight this in blue with this format. That is it. And I click OK, and you can see that this color is applied, blue color is applied to this number 123.1. Now if this number is less than 100, nothing happens. A general format is applied. So this is how you can use custom number formatting to give color or to specify a condition. So for example, let me say that I am maybe checking copies of the marks of students, and I say if this number is greater than 35, which is the passing marks in one of the exams, then you should type here pass, else semicolon. If this is less than 35, then you should type here fail. And what I've done is I've specified that if the number is greater than 35, type pass, but if the number is less than 35, type fail. And when I click OK, it says pass. Now do not be fooled by the fact, oh, I'm so sorry, the spelling again, my mistake, is wrong. So do not be fooled by the fact that this is text. This is still a number at back end. If you click on the formula bar, you can still see that this is a number. Now let me change this value to 25, and as soon as I click enter, it shows fail, because this is the format that is applied when the marks is less than 35. So this is how you can play around with custom number formatting. Let me go back to the format cells dialog box by pressing Ctrl 1. Now let's see a bit of custom formats that are already available. In this case, let's see this format is chosen, and it says that in case of positive numbers, show me these numbers with hash comma hash hash 0, which means that at least one number has to be available. And in case of negative number, show the same thing with a red color. Now let me click OK. It says 25 as of now, but let me type a bigger number. I would type 1234, and when I press enter, you can see there is 1 comma 234 because that is the format that was applied, hash comma hash hash 0. Now let us make it negative. I press a minus sign here, and now it becomes red in color. So you can see that all I've done is I've applied two formats, and in case you only give it one single format, so in this case if I only give it a 0 or 0.0, that format is applied to all the four cases, which is positive, negative, 0 and text. If you give only two formats, then the first one is applied to positive and 0, and the second one is applied to negative. Text by default becomes general. If I give it three formats, then first is applied to positive, second to negative, and third to 0, and fourth text is by default general. Now let's see a couple of more examples here. So you can use percentage as well. So if I select this, you can see that this value has been converted into a percentage format. You can also use fractions. So for example, if I choose this option, and this is an interesting one, let me click OK. Now you can see that if I type something like 1.2 here, it gets converted into a fraction because here I specified it as a fraction format, which is hash, indicating that if there are any numbers, then that should be here 1 2 3 or 1 2 whatever, and a fraction should be question mark slash question mark. This should be the format. In this case, for example, if I type 0.1 and I hit enter, you can see it displays 0 because it has to mandatorily display that hash value. If I type 1.2, then it displays 1.5. You can again go back and check all these formats. Now let's discuss these date formats. So for example, let me type today's date, and today is 13 September, which is 09 2014. I hit enter. Now if I press Control 1 and go back to custom number formatting, I can specify the format. As of now, this is DD MM YYY, but I can specify what I want. So for example, let me show you a couple of changes by just tweaking around with this formatting. Let me just type D, and as soon as I type D, you can see it shows me the day, which is 13th. If I type D again, nothing happens, but if I type D again, it changes this to the name of the day, which is Saturday, in 3 alphabet code. If I type D again, it converts this into Saturday. Let me show you what happens if I use M. When I type M, it shows me the month, which is the 9th month. I type M again, it says 09, and if I type M again, it says September, SEP, 3-letter code, and if I type M again, it gives me the entire month. Similarly, if I come to year, I type Y, it gives me 14 instead of 2014. If I type Y again, nothing happens, the same format, but if I type Y again, it gives me 2014. So these are the formats that you can use. If I use all these formats together, if I type D D D D comma M M M M comma y, you can see this is how my number would look. Now no sane person would use this as their number formatting or their date formatting, but again, this is the kind of flexibility you would get with custom number formatting. If you use this format, you can know that it is Saturday today, it is September, and this is 2014. And again, if you do not want year, you can simply delete it. If you do not want hyphen, you can change this with a dash or anything you want. So these are custom number formatting for dates. You can specify the format here, you can see what you want, and it would apply that formatting. Now let's come to the time part. So as of now, here it is 23:36, but I cannot use this value, so let me now let's come to time. Here it is 22:36, and now as soon as I press enter, Excel has converted this into time. Now let me press Control 1 again and go to custom number formatting. As of now, the format is HHMM, but what happens if I add :SS to it? It would show you the number of seconds that have elapsed. Again, within this, now there is not much you can do because you cannot introduce another H and expect something to happen, but you can certainly remove this H. And if you do that, you can see that as of now it displays 22:36. But if I change this value to say 8 8:36 and I press enter, you can see, and let me remove this, you can see that it now displays only 8:36. But if I go back and introduce another h here and hit enter, it would say 08:36, which means 8 hours 36 minutes. So this is how you can use HHMM, and again you can introduce SS formatting. You can also use the AM PM formatting. So if I type AM/PM, this would ensure that my data, my time value has an AM or PM value to it. So for example, if I click OK, I can see that this is AM, but if I change this to say 18 and hit enter, you can see that it changes this to 6:36 PM. So this formatting has converted this into a 12-hour clock, with the first 12 hours being AM and second 12 hours being PM. But what if you're calculating time? Maybe you're calculating the overtime done by employees in a month, and that value comes out to be something like 40 hours and 23 minutes, for example. So how would you calculate this, for example? Because if you apply this formatting, if you apply the general formatting here, if you apply simply HHMM formatting, it would display 1623, because Excel does not understand what is 40. It would automatically subtract 24 minus 40 and show 16 hours. But if you do want to display this as 40 hour 20 minutes, simply put these HH within double quotes, and as soon as you do this, it would ensure that whatever number is there is displayed exactly, and it is not converted into a 12-hour time period. Again, there are a lot of formats that you can use. You can see there are yes, yes, no, true, true, false, on, off, and a lot of formats that you can play around with. But I've told you all the building blocks that you can use to construct a custom number format. That's it in this video. I hope you found this useful. Thank you and have a nice day.